everyone, welcome back. I'm Periwinkle Jellyfish, and today I will be drawing another rainbowy character. The reason this video came out so late was because I had really bad art block, and I couldn't think of anything to draw. Whenever I tried to draw anything, it wouldn't turn out very good. I was just at a complete slump. And in the end, I asked my mom, who is an artist herself, and said, hey, do you have any tips for art block? And her best advice was get some cheerful music on your headphones, just try not to think too much, just get your hands moving. So with the help of Pinterest and cheerful music on my headphones, I managed to come up with this rough sketch. And I thought it turned out pretty good, so I just took a picture of it, imported it into Clip Studio Paint, and decided to get going from there. I didn't record the rough sketch phase for that, just because I figured maybe it would be a little bit easier for me if I just don't record it, and it did turn out being a little bit easier, but I'll probably record a rough sketch for my next video. I really appreciate being so patient for waiting for my next video. I would have uploaded something a little bit sooner if it weren't for my dang art block. So for this character, she has a lot of asymmetry going on, and there's just like so many little elements and details going on in her outfit. She has pearls and hearts, stars, moons, little wing accents, just a lot of different details that I thought would look really cute on this design. And her hair is also put into two little split ends. It'll look a little bit easier to recognize once she's colored in, so just bear with me for a moment. I decided to give her a little pocket watch on her hip just because I thought that would look really cute. I had no idea what I was doing, and my line art fade's a little bit different from my usual line arts just because I just had that bad of art block and I was just losing my mind and thinking, oh my gosh, it looks so much worse on the rough sketch. How is this possible? But in the end, I just decided to deal with it and see if coloring it in would make it feel better. And it did. So in the end, I think this turned out really nice, and you can see so many little accents and details going on in her outfit. It'll become a lot more obvious the further in we go. I had no idea what I was doing and was kind of just winging it here. So that was fun. Anyway, now I'm just working on some ruffles and just making sure that those ruffles look very ruffly and not just weird little grooves, I guess, little swirly things. I don't know. Anyway, this was absolute chaos, and I love it. This character seems like she just screams chaos, and she actually seems to have a lot of similarities to Argo Iris from my Drawing the Most Rainbowy Character I Can video. Hashtag beige is for peasants. So, maybe there's some sort of relation to those two. Maybe they're siblings or something. Maybe they just know each other. That you'll start to see a lot more similarities the closer to coloring in we get and the more colors I add to this character. I'm pretty sure it was obvious that I had no idea what I was doing because I was kind of just panicking, and I was just shifting between different layers at the same time. Usually just do one layer and then I'm done with it and then I go on to the next thing, but I was just doing multiple at a time, just hoping for the best. Now I'm drawing the eyes, and I'm experimenting with a slightly different technique for drawing eyes than I usually do. I'm pretty sure you had no idea what I was doing at this point because at one point I did this. Woo! Yeah, I have no idea what that was. I guess it was just me having fun, so oh well. At this point, I'm starting to get to the finishing touches of my line art phase, and the line art is usually the hardest part for me whenever I'm doing art block. Whenever I have art block, usually the rough sketch and line art is the hardest part, but once I get to the coloring phase, then everything seems to start falling into place. So for this character, I want bright pinks, bright blues, and bright yellows for her color palette. First I'm coloring in those little eyelashes and the eyes. I was deciding to check out a slightly different technique for coloring the eyes, but for this, I decided that I want some pink hair for this girly, and I just thought that would look really adorable. So now I'm coloring in those two little partitions of her hair, erasing the little overlap that got into her ears. The bucket tool can be really useful for saving time, and personally, I really like things that are convenient. So yeah. Once I was done with this, the bucket tool, I just had to color in or erase a few little mistakes, and then I was ready to get into the streaky phase. So now I'm just adding some little colors. You can see that there's a little bit of a drills curled area of her hair in the front. I was just experimenting with drawing curly hair. I'm still experimenting with this, and you might see a few characters with very, very curly hair in the future, just because that's I need to practice in order to get used to this sort of stuff. Those little front areas in her hair kind of look like little cocoons, though, and I think it's kind of funny. Yeah. So for this, I didn't want to have too drastic changes to her hair color. I didn't want to add separate colors. I just wanted different versions of pink, and yeah. I was trying not to make things too vibrant, too light, so that things wouldn't look too insane, basically. Yeah. So I was just doing that, just, trying to get through all the little details. And yeah, I had some areas that were a little bit more purple and pink. I just think some variation would look really nice. I was experimenting with different ways to draw the hair as well in this process. Once I was done with that, though, I started moving on to the lots and lots and lots of little hair clippy things. I don't know what they look like. I don't know what to call them. I mean, but yeah, there's just like a lot of different colors and details that are going on all in one image, and I am here for it. Lately, I have been playing a lot of Animal Crossing lately because I restarted my islands. And so I've just been working on decorating and farming as much bells as I can, and trying to make this island as cute as I possibly can. Yeah. I've also been crocheting a scarf for my mom out of some really rainbowy yarn. The only problem is that the yarn has gotten tangled on multiple occasions, and I had to cut it so I could keep on crocheting, and I had to weave in loose ends, which was actually a pretty good lesson on how to weave in loose ends without it being too obvious, so that was kind of good, I guess. I'm experimenting now with how to add a gradient to the dress. I knew that I didn't want it to be one singular color. I just couldn't figure out how I wanted it to be multiple colors, so that was the only problem there. In the end, I decided to go for this gradient. It's almost rainbowy. Now I decided that I didn't really like the way I colored in the eyes, so I'm just gonna color that back in to fix it much better. Okay, now we're moving back on to coloring in the clothes. At this point, you can see all the little details that are everywhere, and it's starting to become more and more similar to arcoiris. So at this point, I am pretty sure that they're siblings. Wait, I'm the creator. I can decide these sort of things. Okay, yes, they are siblings. It's decided. Okay, Okay, yeah, it's decided. It's official. Whoever we're going to name this character is, and arcoiris, they are related. They are siblings. Yeah. So now I'm coloring in her earrings, and I'm trying to stick to my color palette that I decided in the top left corner as much as I possibly can, but in some situations I did darken or lighten up the colors a few times just so that things would not be so insanely the same. After all, I want this to be chaotic, but kind of an organized chaos, I guess. I'm coloring in those little wing things on her dress, her skirt. This is probably the only form of symmetry you're ever going to see in her design. I thought about adding a little bit of shading onto her hair and lighting into the drawing before I went into rendering, but in the end that didn't really seem to work too well. So in the end I just decided to just scrap the idea. Now I'm working on those little bows, and I thought about adding a little bit of pink to them, but in the end I went for more of a yellow coloring. So once I was done with that, I could start moving on to coloring in the skin. Okay, something went wrong with my camera at this point, and the light is a little bit flashy. So if you're sensitive to flashing lights, please skip to around 12 minutes and 53 seconds, so that you don't have to put yourself through that. I don't know why on earth my camera was doing this. My best guess is that I accidentally put my camera onto slow-mo, and I tried to speed it up as best I can, but the footage is going to be a little bit wonky. I'm so sorry about that. I didn't notice this until right when I was looking over everything, and I was like, oh shoot, I can't just delete this footage now since it's so long and is so prominent. I guess I'm just gonna have to try and fast it up as best I can. So I'm really sorry about that, but I promise this will be over really soon. So now I'm coloring in her leggings, and now I'm coloring in her skin. This was fairly simple, and I just had to go over a few things. You can really see how wonky the camera was. I don't even know what on earth this was. I don't know, just, we're just gonna have to deal with it for a little bit. So now I'm coloring in her eyes. I decided to make them teal with some yellow added into it just for a little bit of color. Yeah. So now I'm going into that, and I experimented with a few different ways to do this, but I thought about maybe giving her heterochromia, but that didn't seem to work very well, so I decided to give her two of the same colored eyes. Yeah. So, now I'm just coloring in the white area of the eyes. I always forget what it's called. So now I am coloring in that, and we're starting to get to work on recoloring in the line art. This is a fairly simple process. You just gotta kind of decide what you want to do with it, and then just do it really quickly. You can just use a really big brush and then just color everything in if you're lazy like me, so that's what I did. Yeah. Once I was done with this part, I noticed a few mistakes in the eye, so I fixed that real quick, and then started to color them in. I decided to go for this dark deepish pink, and then go for a bit of a blue gradient to them. Yeah. So now I'm moving on to the rendering, and we're almost out of the weird wonky camera phase. Yay! Okay, we're out, we're free, we did it! Okay, so now I'm going to just do a little bit of rendering. This part is really simple and really quick. I just gotta add a little bit of this, and I decided to add some really, really bright light so that it kind of looks like she's in the sun or in a nice little setting. I just thought this would make her seem a little bit more at ease, or in a peaceful setting, I guess. I had to adjust the lighting a little bit so it wouldn't look like half of her was just completely disappeared though. So here's the finished result. Please let me know if you have any ideas on what to name her in the comments below. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much for waiting till this video came out. I know it was way longer than it should have been, but and thank you for watching this video through to the end, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!